pulling on ball tires, dashboard St. grinning thin, coffee fumes and motor oil, the same old welcome in. Floor squeak like old two steps, stools spin like 45s. A jukebox keeps its vigil while the night shift comes alive. Rita flips the pancakes, calls everyone hung. Her gold locket holds a sunrise from a town she had to run. A ranch hand hums a hymn he learned in busted boots. The friars hiss like jealous snakes, the radio plays the news. There's a long haul boy named Kenny counting dimes for apple pie. Says the road's a silver ribbon tied to every last goodbye. In the corner sits a widow with a letter in her purse. She reads it when the buses pass, it doesn't make it hurt. The neon hums a halo, the bell above the door calls sinners, saints, and shiftless souls and lonesome troubadours. I'm one more gravel prayer rolling off a dusty tongue, looking for a harmony to make the night last long. So sing your pickup choir at the Lone Star Diner. Let the chrome and coffee turn the broken hearts kinder. Pour a measure of mercy from the pot still warm. It'll steal sunrise through an all-night storm. We ain't pretty, we ain't perfect, but Lord, we're trying. In a booth with the truth and the jukebox crying. Raise a cup to the sinners and the midnight survivors. Sing pickup choir at the Lone Star Diner. Rita knows our stories like the order slip she stacks. She can spot a man who's leaving from the way he never packs. Kenny taps a teaspoon like a metronome for fate. The truckers trade their miles like hands at poker late. A tourist kid from somewhere cold asked me about my hat. I say it's built from summer storms, and the brim remembers that. The friar pops like campfire sparks across a midnight trail, and somewhere in the grid of it, our softer parts prevail. A broken Telecaster hangs above the register, signed by barroom kings who swore they'd never tell her. I tune my voice to coffee steam and neons humming wire, and find the chord where strangers rise to form a ragged choir. We sing for all the letters that the postman lost or kept. We sing for vows that trembled and for nights we never slept. Rita lights a candle by the tip jar shaped like boots, says every little flame can make a choir stall out of soul. So sing your pickup choir at the Lone Star Diner. Let the chrome and coffee turn the broken hearts kinder. Pour a measure of mercy from the pot still warm. It'll steal sunrise through an all-night storm. We ain't pretty, we ain't perfect, but Lord, we're trying. In a booth with the truth and the jukebox Raise a cup to the sinners and the midnight survivors. Sing pickup choir at the Lone Star Diner. Maybe grace ain't Sunday clothes, maybe grace is over easy, served with hash browns, little greasy, while the moon looks kinda queasy. Maybe faith is quarter stacked, a jukebox wish on fire, a chorus line of strangers finding notes a step up higher. Rita hums a melody that sounds like second chances. Kenny keeps the time and sorrow finally dances. So sing your pickup choir at the Lone Star Diner. Turn the hurt into a harmony, the cold nights milder. Steam up the windows with a hopeful refrain. Slide guitar blessings on a hard pan plane. We ain't pretty, we ain't perfect, but we're stitching the night with coffee rings, halos, and a neon light. Raise a cup to the sinners and the midnight survivors. Sing on pickup choir at the Lone Star Diner.
There's a fence that splits the pasture like a zipper in the ground, rusty knots and weathered posts that hold the silence down. I lean my back against it, counting breaths like cattle brands, when a bluebird perched on barbed wire sang forgiveness to the land. Her feathers were a sky I'd lost the map 2 years ago, when we traded soft good nights for the sharp edge of I know. You left me with a windmill creek and gravel in my throat, and a mason jar of moonlight I was too ashamed to hold. I thought love was a saddle that you cinch and never check, till I rode it hard through summer, left it sweating at the neck. All the words I never mended, snagged on barbs like shirts, and I learned a simple lesson: beauty sometimes bleeds to work. That bluebird sang above me, bright, impossible, and light. A ribbon of forgiveness threading through a ragged night. The fence could not be softer, still the song went floating higher, a stitched together lullaby, a bluebird on the wire. Bluebird on the barbed wire, sing me something true, a melody that knows the pain but keeps the sky in view. I've been caught on every sharp edge, tangled up in pride, but your tune turns rust to silver on the lonely side. If love can land on thorns and still decide to fly, teach this stubborn heart to try. Bluebird on the barbed wire, I took that old El Camino down the section line at dawn. Radio found a fiddle tune that tugged me slowly on. Stopped by the church in Prairie Bend, where vows still smell like rain. I said a prayer like tattered cloth across my weathered shame. Saw your name in Sunday bulletins from better, brighter years, where we carved our future sloppy with a pocket knife and cheers. The steeple wept the sparrow's note, no blame, no flaming pyre, just mercy like that miracle, a bluebird on the wire. And maybe we aren't destined for the fairy tale parade, but somewhere in the pasture is a shade we both can trade. An acre where the barbs rust out, the posts grow soft with moss, where we can set the stories down and count the honest cost. If you'll meet me at the fence line when the day is turning mild, I'll bring a jar of peaches and a clumsy contrite smile. We'll listen for that feathered hymn above the tilted spire and stitch ourselves a second chance from Bluebird, Barbed and wide. Bluebird on the barbed wire, sing me something true, a melody that knows the pain but keeps the sky in view. I've been caught on every sharp edge, tangled up in pride, but your tune turns rust to silver on the lonely side. If love can land on thorns and still decide to fly, teach this stubborn heart to try. Bluebird on the barbed wire, feathers over iron, hope above the scar. Songs don't change the fence, but they change who we are. I'll learn to lift my hands like a gate that's never tired. Let grace crawl through the hinges, unafraid and wide. Bluebird on the barbed wire, sing us both back home. Let the pedals still be mourning and the drum a steady stone. I'll take the blame I owe you and lay it like a coat, so your feet can step uninjured where the old regrets still float. If love can perch on thorns and still decide to fly, then maybe so can I. Bluebird on the barbed wire. I chased you past the depot where the freight trains take their vows, where the rails are thin confessions and the whistles sound like howl. You wore that Sunday dress like it was patched with kerosene, and every step you took burned tracks through everything between. The town kept all our secrets in the windows after dark, where the neon writes its cursive over boots and borrowed hearts. I swore I'd never beg, but when you crossed that border sign, I learned the toll they charge at Heartbreak County line.
stains in roadside motels, curtain leaks, and thunder-bitten pains. I loved you like a drought loves rain, hungry, fierce, and blind, and thought the storm would save us if it got here just in time. But storms don't sign the guest book, they don't pay for all they spill. They break the thirsty open, leave a greener, quieter hill. I stood there with my hat off like I heard the church bell chime, while you walked clean and certain past Heartbreak County line. At the Heartbreak County line, they weigh your words and wine. They stamp your passport with the tear salt you decline. Pedal steel is customs there, the fiddle checks your bags. They confiscate your alibis and all your swaggered brags. At the Heartbreak County line, the truth don't read your mind. It posts the tally anyway in neon painter signs. I paid in songs and foolish pride, I paid in nickels time for crossing with you, darling, at Heartbreak County line. There's a truck stop where the coffee tastes like penance, black and hot, where the countertop philosophers can tell you what you're not. I left them half a story and a tip of folded green, then walked outside to face the road I never should have seen. Your taillights were a rosary of disappearing beads, each red dot a broken prayer, each mile a pulling weed. I held my hand out like a cop to stop an ancient crime, but love ignores the sirens at Heartbreak County line. A billboard with a preacher's grin promised easy grace, but grace is never easy, it just meets you where you face. So I turned around to find myself instead of chasing you. The mirror in the window blinked a man I almost knew. He looked like Sunday after rain, like fence posts good and straight, like someone who can build again and lock a sturdy gate. I took a breath that tasted clean like newly sanded pine, and stepped away unshackled from Heartbreak County line. At the Heartbreak County line, they weigh your words and wine. They stamp your passport with the tear salt you decline. Pedal steel is customs there, the fiddle checks your bags. They confiscate your alibis and all your swaggered brags. At the Heartbreak County line, the truth don't read your mind. It posts the tally anyway in neon painter signs. I paid in songs and foolish pride, I paid in nickels time for crossing with you, darling, at Heartbreak County line. Some borders aren't on maps, they're stitched in ribs and breath. You cross them when you're leaving, you cross them into death. But some you cross to live again, to claim a different sky. A line drawn not to trap you, but to tell you you're alive. At the Heartbreak County line, I turn my boots around, let the Telecaster thunder and the kick drum shake the ground. I won't smuggle pain tonight or call it something sweet. I'm done with counterfeit goodbyes and sentimental cheats. At the Heartbreak county line, the moon approved my spine, stamped me fit to travel with a simple, steady sign. I lost you where the neon fades, but gained a straighter mind, and walked on past the toll booth of Heartbreak County line.
Quarter moons and quarter slots, I'm counting both tonight. Outside of Rosie's laundromat, where socks become a fight. I used to have your number tucked behind my license plate, but thunder took it hostage and the years rebated late. The payphone on Pecos Street still rings inside my head, like it knows the words I swallowed and the words I left unsaid. I dial the past, collect sometimes, pretend you'll take the call, but ghosts don't feed the meters and the future keeps it all. Desert winds, a switchblade that can carve a name in chrome. The taco stand is shutting down, the drunks are limping home. The kid in dusty Wranglers kicks a bottle cap to Mars, while a low rider hums lullabies beneath these crooked stars. I tell myself I'm over you 1,000 times a mile, but passing this old payphone makes that lie sit up and smile. I let the diatone sermonize a single unspun thread. The gospel of the might have been, the saints have almost said. Payphone on Pecos Street, take a message for my pride. Tell her love's a stubborn quarter that refuses any ride. If she answers with a dial tone, just hum that lonely key, where the pedal still remembers what the mouth won't let me be. Payphone on Pecos Street, ring like midnight's only friend. I'll keep feeding you my nickels till the past picks up again. I met a girl in Santa Fe who laughed with both her hands and spun my names like vinyl till the song became a plan. But every time she leaned in close, I heard that payphone sing a busy signal dressed in lace, a rusted wedding ring. So I took the long road westward where the mesas learn to flow, and camped beside a canyon with a mule and dusty coat. I carved your name in cedar bark, then sanded it away, to teach myself that letting go is how good timber stays. Back in town, the morning smells like tortillas, oil, and rain. The street sweep draws a chalk line down the middle of my brain. The rose
Jersey sets the open sign, the kid returns from Mars. And I step up to the handset like a man who knows his scars. No quarter left for fantasies, no nickels for regret. Just one last little prayer that I haven't practiced yet. I lift the phone, it purrs a note, a steady, patient C. And I tell the line I'm grateful for the truth it taught to me. Payphone on Pecos Street, take a message for my pride. Tell her love's a stubborn quarter that refuses any ride. If she answers with a dial tone, just hum that lonely key, where the pedal still remembers what the mouth won't let me be. Payphone on Pecos Street, ring like midnight's only friend. I'll keep feeding you my nickels till the past picks up again. Some hearts are prepaid, some hearts are collect. Some hearts hang up early just to dodge the wreck. Mine was long distance, always out of range, but I found a local number underneath the change. Payphone on Pecos Street, I'm hanging up for good. Let the Telecaster shimmer like a promise understood. If the past comes calling, tell her I can't take the line. I'm busy with the living and my future's right on time. Payphone on Pecos Street, your bell can keep its beat, but I'll be dancing down the sidewalk to a brand new brighter heat. Let the coin slide keep my ghost, I won't be back to feet. Goodbye Payphone, Pecos Street, and every old misread. I was 23 and reckless as a match beside a barn. You were lacing wild magnolia, lightning folded in an arm. We traded vows in August heat, a courthouse faded flags. I wore a suit that smelled like oil, and you wore Sunday's tags. The band was just a boombox and a cousin on a snare, but the rice fell soft as snowfall in your sun-braid hair. We drove that rusted Pontiac through cotton rows and towns. We played the game called Name Our Future while the moon kept counting downs. I got work at Keller's garage, you taught the second grade. We learned that love is lunches packed and bills that don't get paid. I promised you a diamond big as Texas shine with prayer, but months turned mountains into molehills when you split the fare. I hid my fear in gasoline, the shop's fluorescent sting, till happy hour introduced me to a softer, meaner thing. Barstool preacher told me pain was measured best in sips. The whiskey wind kept blowing till it chapped our kissless lips. Whiskey wind and wedding rings, one turns hearts to weathered things. One keeps hold when tempers swing and Friday nights go blind.
kept faith through every pass and tied me to the better past. I'd sworn I'd try to find whiskey wind can howl and sting. Thank God for wedding rings. I miss the play you staged in May, the one with paper crowns. You kept the program on the fridge and never wrote it down. Our girl asked why the bleachers had an empty, noisy space. I lied and said that Daddy's work had changed its shift in place. You didn't fight, your silence was a field of uncut hay, where every misstep made a sound that lingered half the day. I heard it in my sober hours, heard it in the rain, a metronome of promises that never learned my name. A man can hide behind a joke the way a barn hides mice, and still the seed of better ways will germinate with price. I found mine in a Sunday seat, a pew that smelled like pine, a preacher more mechanic than a prophet, plain and kind. He said that storms don't blow to break us, just to test the grain, to show the beams that hold a roof, to drain the rotten shame. I walked out with a number to a sponsor's shaky hands, and met the man I meant to be, who helps and understands. Whiskey, wind, and wedding rings, one turns hearts to weathered things, one keeps hold when tempers swing and Friday nights go blind. I lost the map inside the glass, but you kept faith through every pass and tied me to the better past. I'd sworn I'd try to find the whiskey wind can howl and sting. Thank God for wedding rings. I laid my thirst upon the rail and watched the bottle roll. It shattered where the sunlight made a promise on the floor. You came with broom and bandage, didn't lecture, didn't score, just pressed your wedding finger to my chest and said there's more. Whiskey wind can't move me now, I'm planted in the vow somehow, with petals steel like mercy laid across our weary sky. We'll teach our girl the steady way that loves the work we choose each day, and dance on linoleum while the thunder passes by. Whiskey, wind, and wedding rings, we've heard worse storms than this one brings. I'll hold your hand through everything. Thank God for wedding rings. Brown paper, blue ink, and a stamp, that's half a sun. Your letter found my mailbox like a trail I used to run. Postmark says Amarillo, like the course of a train. Smells like dust and diner coffee, like a window after rain. You wrote about a thrift store job and how you found a friend, a woman who can hem the past and stitch a cleaner end.
You said that all your loudest fears learned indoor voices there, that sometimes quiet teaches more than prayers in open air.
You asked me how the sorghum grew and if the calves were strong, if Keller still plays Conway on that busted speaker's song. You wondered if the church repair had fixed the leaky nave, if I still park by Cotton Gin and wave at Farmer Dave.
I read the words in overalls, a garden hose in hand, felt the heat climb off the gravel like a promise to the land. You signed it with a careful grace, the way you fold a sheet. Said, I'm alright, I hope you are, be kind to what you mean. Postmark Amarillo, carried by a western wind, every line a mile between us, every word a mend. I hear your pen like fiddle bows that lift a dusty sky. And somewhere past this mailbox, there's a softer reason why. Postmark Amarillo, honest as a prairie vow. If distance had a tender face, it looks like you right now.
I drove to town for feet and nails, your letter on the dash, like a passport to the other life we nearly let go crash. Stopped by Stella's Market, where you used to stock the bread. The bell still rings like laughter does inside an easy head.
Old Stella asked if I had news, and I just tapped my chest. Said, got a sunrise out of nowhere. She said, that sounds like blessed. I bought 2 jars of peaches and a roadside magazine, then parked beside the baseball field we mowed that summer green.
I pictured you in Amarillo, yellow streetlights, cotton dress, your hair up in a pencil twist that says I'm doing less.
Less of running from yourself, more learning where you stand. Hands that fold the future like a quilt that warms the land. I didn't ask forgiveness in that letter I will write. Some things need a phone call, some things need your face in sight. But I can answer truth with truth, and so I'll start with mine. I'm better than the boy you left, still hope to meet you kind. Postmark Amarillo, carried by a western wind, every line a mile between us, every word a mend. I hear your pen like fiddle bows that lift a dusty sky. And somewhere past this mailbox, there's a softer reason why. Postmark Amarillo, honest as a prairie vow. If distance had a tender face, it looks like you right now.
I'll write you from the porch tonight with gnats around the light.
I laugh about the mower wheel that leans a little right.
I'll say the sky's a metal tub where God keeps cool the stars, and leave a space for someday roads and not too distant cars.
Postmark Amarillo, let the pedal steel confess that love can learn new zip codes clothes and still find home address.
I'll drive if you say Saturday, I'll fly if you say soon.
We'll meet where Sunday mornings pour an honest, steady tune. Postmark Amarillo, seal this with a hopeful ring.
Two names on one small envelope addressed to everything.
Forget the week they had to haul a VFW with neon saints and plywood on the wall. Your boots were two blue fireworks at war with every doubt, and my excuses shivered when the band kicked swinging out. I told you I was just in town to fix a broken line, a water main that burst beneath the parking lot of time. You laughed and said, "That's cute, but son, I read you like a sign. You're drowning in your worry, come get rescued in this rhyme." We'd quarter turn, we'd grapevine through the tax returns of pain. We mirrored like two porch fans in an August window pane. Your hand fit mine the way a glove remembers how it grew, and I forgot the story where I always end up blue. You said, "I don't do fairy tales, just floors that need a sweep, where mops and mercy make a waltz of promises we keep." I said, "I'm bad at idle talk and worse at holding still." You said, "Then move with purpose, boy, and learn a steadier will." Give me a two-step alibi, a reason for this foolish grin, a witness made of sawdust floors and steel that cuts the sky. If anyone should ask me why I finally learned to breathe again, I'll blame the band, the fiddles cry, my two-step alibi. We danced until the ceiling fans declared our names in dust, until the barkeep's rag gave up and all the stools got trussed. A rancher said, "You kids look new." We answered, "So are we." He tipped his brim and said, "Well then, be kind to what you see." You told me about leaving home and how the highway smiled, how freedom fits like boots at creek but walk you that first mile. I told you that my temper was a mower missing teeth, that chewed up all my Saturdays and gnashed the joy beneath. You said a man's not measured by the storms that find his trail, but how he keeps his lantern lit and stays to tell the tale. I checked my pulse against the snare, a steady-chested proof that maybe I can be a floor and not a leaky roof. We stepped out on the gravel night, was stitched with barroom hymns, a bullfrog band, a cricket choir, the moon with scuffed up rims. You drew an alibi in chalk across the hood of my old Ford, two footprints close, a heart that's not a crime, just kept in store. Give me a two-step alibi, a reason for this foolish grin, a witness made of sawdust floors and steel that cuts the sky. If anyone should ask me why I finally learned to breathe again, I'll blame the band, the fiddles cry, my two-step alibi. They'll say I left the scene of doubt with laughter as my getaway. I'll plead guilty to the count of hope, sentence me to stay. Give me a two-step alibi, let the telecaster testify. The two-step picking, stomping, kick the truth you can't deny. If anyone should question love, we'll show them how the steps align. Left, right, hope, right, left, enough. Our two-step alibi. Write it down in neon script, then let the courthouse try. We'll dance our sworn deposition, two-step alibi. I found your boot behind the shed, split open at the seam. A veteran of gravel roads and one long busted dream. The leather told a story like a cattle branding code of every time you showed up when the weather said don't go. I took it to old Manny, who can stitch a storm to rest. He shook his head and said, this one's been faithful, tried its best. He threaded wax through weathered holes with hands like cottonwood. Said, mend the boot, then mind the heart, both wanna walk for good. I walked it home at supper time, set it by the door, next to mine that still looked new, but didn't know the floor. You sat there folding laundry, shirts that smelled like sun, socks that learned a two-step while the dryer drummed for fun. I said it ain't much, honey, but it's proof a thing can last. Even when the road gets mean and glory rides on past, you touch the boot like reading Braille, your thumb along the scar. Said love's not brand new leather, it's the line where mending are. Moon over a mended boot, shining on the faithful route. Light these ordinary rooms where ordinary hearts stay true. We ain't got a silver coupe, just a roof and honest fruit, but we've got you and me in one old boot that learned to do. Moon over a mended boot, that's all the shine we need tonight. That simple, steady truth. We ate the beans and cornbread while the radio confessed. A DJ with a velvet voice who knew our small town mess. He played a song about a man who almost threw it in, till a common quiet miracle convinced him try again. I looked at you and saw the miles that didn't make the screen, the hours that don't Instagram, the work that built the scene. You said you feared I loved the chase more than the keeping still. I said I feared that too sometimes, but choose you by my will. We walked the pasture after dusk, the crickets tuned their choir. That mended boot kept tempo like an old forgiven tire. You leaned into my flannel like a barn leans into wind, not to fall but ride the push, to sway and not give in. We talked about the bills and how the truck needs better brakes, about your sister's new baby and the way the cedar shakes. Nothing looked like fireworks, nothing begged a song, but peace is just a melody that quietly belongs. Moon over a mended boot, shining on the faithful route. Like these ordinary rooms where ordinary hearts stay true. We ain't got a silver coupe, just a roof and honest fruit, but we got you and me in one old boot that learned to do. Moon over a mended boot, that's all the shine we need tonight. That simple, steady truth. If fate should scuff our leather thin, we'll stitch with what we know. A little thread from second chances, waxed with steady slow. Moon over a mended boot, let the pedal steel salute. Acoustic hands like prayers that keep the ordinary new. Give the snare a tender root, and let the fiddle underscore the proof that love survives in quiet steps we take, not just the view. Moon over a mended boot, I'll walk with you through dust and dew. For all our days to soothe.
The sky broke open over County Route 9. The lightning spelling scripture where the road and rain align. I ducked beneath the flicker of a sign half burned away. Tin roof tavern letters trembling, shouting come what may. Inside the floor was sawdust, and the jukebox leaned with age. The barkeep was a poet who never left the stage. He poured a glass of bourbon, he said, son, I've seen your kind. You're chasing what the thunder hides, but never leaves behind. In the corner sat a waitress with a halo of cigarette haze, counting tips like rosary beads for better, quieter days. The band was two old brothers from a town that time forgot. They played like every note could save the soul it caught. The roof began to rattle like a snare that lost its tune. Rain beat mercy on the metal, thunder hummed the room. A stranger with a scar that curved like lightning down his jaw said storms don't break the broken sun, they just show what they saw. Thunder on a tin roof tavern where the sinners toast the sound, where forgiveness pours like bourbon and regrets are lost and found. Every flash of light's a sermon, every rumble's just a plan for the drifters and the dreamers still pretending they can stand. Thunder on a tin roof tavern, let the heavens pound it down. We'll raise our glass to weather that still lets us stick around. That waitress told a story in the hush between the boom of a man who swore forever, but forever left too soon. She said she loves the thunder 'cause it drowns the voices mean that tell her second chances ain't for folks who've already seen. The barkeep wiped the counter like a man baptized in pain, said rain's just heaven's rhythm, it don't fall here in vain. I found myself confessing things that whiskey made half true. The ghosts I've left unpaid, the hearts I've overdue. The stranger tuned his door to the tempo of the sky, sang a song about redemption where the broken angels fly. It cracked the rafters open till the roof itself was sawn, and every empty glass became a bell that rang along. I swear the storm outside took breath and answered back keeping time like God's own drummer in the black. We were all a congregation, baptized in that sound, and for one brief sacred minute, no one looked around. Thunder on a tin-roof tavern, where the sinners toast the sound, where forgiveness pours like bourbon and regrets are lost and found. Every flash of light's a sermon, every rumble's just a plan for the drifters and the dreamers still pretending they can't stand. Thunder on a tin-roof tavern, let the heavens pound it down. We'll raise our glass to weather that still lets us stick around. By dawn the clouds had wandered on, the air was clean, the guilt was gone. A hymn hung low in puddled glass, the storm had come to let us pass. Thunder on a tin-roof tavern, where a roof can learn to sing, where the clatter of the weather gives the lonely folks their wings. When the jukebox starts its hum again and daylight floods the sound, you'll still hear grace in metal rain that baptized shaky ground. Thunder on a tin-roof tavern, I'll be back next time it cries to toast the thunder rolling under mercy's western sky.
There's a fence post by the back shed where the honeysuckle grows, and a coffee can half buried there beneath the April snows. You used to fill it every night with starlight you could catch, with mason jars and flashlight beams and hope that didn't match. Said, Daddy, if we keep them safe, they'll never have to die. I smiled and said, they're made to roam just like you and I. Years have gone like cattle runs through gates that won't stay shut, and that old can still rattles when the north wind stirs a rut. You grew into a woman with the world beneath your hand, while I stayed here with dust and debts and lines I never planned. You send me cards from cities where the lights outnumber stars, where time moves like a jukebox tune in endless passing cars. I tell the boys at Miller's barn, my girls in magazines, that she traded chores and sunsets for electric movie scenes. But when the porch light flickers out, I see the can still gleam, a whisper of your laughter through a weathered lonesome dream. Starlight in a coffee can, buried where the memories stand, kept alive by weathered hands and prayers that never fade. You taught me love's not meant to own, it shines the brightest when it's flown. Still I keep that starlight home the way a father's made. Starlight in a coffee